Hello out there, my Vault Dweller companions. My name is Josh, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Here's the deal. While I am a fantasy horror author by trade with the occasional cyberpunk novel under my belt, I do sometimes write content articles for assorted video game websites, and lately I've been doing a bunch of them for Fallout 76. And today's video, because sometimes my articles request video, is on my personal top 10 list of heavy weapons in Fallout 76. Now, before we begin, for all of you Vault Dweller types out there, as a note, two of these weapons are not necessarily classified as heavy weapons, but they share so many perks with my usual heavy weapon build that I wanted to include them, and you cannot tell me that a weapon that does this is not a heavy weapon. So first things first, let me take a quick look and glance at my perks. As with any weapon build, you want to max out your, the weapon part of the weapon build. So for this, we have Heavy Gunner, Expert Heavy Gunner, Master Heavy Gunner. I also have Bare Arms just to make my heavy guns a little less heavy. Going down, Concentrated Fire works really well with one or two of the weapons on this list. Glow Sight, this extra damage boost really helps, because especially if you're doing things like Scorched Earth. Following that, Grenader, explosives detonate with twice the radius. This is really important for about half the weapons on this list. Endurance with 3 points for fireproof, taking 45% less damage from explosions and flame attacks. Moving on, I just like Suppressor to reduce damage output. I love Tenderizer to make my target take more damage. I could honestly switch those. Friendly Fire is hugely helpful for the #1 weapon on my list, because it allows you to keep friendly NPCs alive during special events like, I don't know, Most Dangerous Game, or the Brotherhood of Steel Test Your Metal thing. Moving on, okay, reducing power armor weight, increasing accuracy, and decreasing armor resistance. Moving on, a Demolition Expert to make your explosives do 60% more damage. Batteries included, I use because about 3/4 of my heavy weapons are energy based. Moving on, Action Boy is helpful just because when you sprint with power armor, this is regen, plus when you use VATS, it's a help. Through Hiker for me, I have more food than I know what to do with. Sneak as a joke, but I do like to get the occasional sneak attack in. Adrenaline ups your damage for 30 seconds per kill, and with heavy weapons, you're killing a lot, and killing a lot quickly. Under Luck, we have One Gun Army to increase your stagger chance and cripple chance. Class Freak and Starch Genes for mutations. Good with Salt is something that I run, again, because I have a ton of food, but in reality, I really should switch it over to Bloody Mess. Finally, not to be left out, I have my legendary perks. With this, I do have Legendary Perception, Charisma, and Strength all maxed out, as well as Agility. So I can get to 15 with all those and max out the perk cards. Master Infiltrator and Ammo Factory, just because. Really, at this point in the game's lifespan, Ammo Factory is not as critically as important as it used to be with the way ammo is everywhere. But if you're using weapons with harder to find ammo, like Gauss Minigun, which is my number 3 on this list, then it can't hurt. But Master Infiltrator, just because I'm lazy. So there. Alright. Now, with all of that out of the way, let me talk about the first weapon that's going to be on the first weapon that's going to be on the list, and that's going to be the Overkill. This is a 2-shot mini nuke launcher. Now, math on 2-shot weapons is wonky. In this case, it's plus an extra projectile, plus 25% damage. The second projectile itself doesn't hit as hard as the first one. It's between 25 and 50%. Most of the time when you have a 2-shot option, you are better off with switching that out for a different legendary effect like Junkies, Aristocrats, Gourmands, or my personal favorite, Armor Piercing. With that said, with this one, it doesn't matter. You've already seen it work at the top of the video, but let me do it again. This is a 2-shot mini nuke launcher with the MIRV modification built in, so it splits that, and you're getting, what, 8 to 10 mini nukes at once. It's a crowd cleaner, not necessarily a crowd pleaser. Please forgive me for a second. I'm looking to see if there's anything on the map worth doing with this gun. And yes, there is. Let's hop over to do the Angler Horde really quick. I'm not a fan of this weapon. It's fun. It's on here because I felt obligated to put at least one missile launcher on this. And honestly, missile launchers in Fallout 76 do not live up to their potential. The reload speed is super slow. They don't do damage that equates to that reload speed. The projectiles usually fire slowly. If you miss with one, you are opening yourself up to a world of pain. And this particular weapon itself is even more problematic just because, well, you saw what sort of effects it gives when you fire it off. And that effect can blind other players, disrupt other players' play style. And yeah, see, I fired that and it detonated so close that it didn't even get their attention, which is not a, well, I take it back. It got their attention. And while it killed most of it, it didn't kill all of it. So, like I said, it's good for crowd control, but not good for a whole lot else. It's a fun weapon to play with when you're soloing, but not something I would be comfortable bringing out in any public situation unless I intended to just be a complete jerk. And speaking of being a complete jerk, where is that corpse? Hey, it's Fallout 76. The game is built on scavenging. I'm not passing up anything, even for a video. Alright, the next weapon on my list is going to be coming in at number 9, and I didn't label these. I probably really should have. Where are you hiding, sir? There we go. The Cryolater. Now, I built this. I didn't do a whole lot with it. The Juggernaught's recoil compensated Cryolater. Legendary effect, pretty much anything you want. The Cryolater comes in 2 forms. One with a standard barrel, which is more of an automatic fire that acts like a flamer. The other is a crystallized barrel, which basically shoots snowballs. What is this weapon good for? That's a good question. Alright, let me pop over to one of my favorite testing grounds. We are swinging up to Wavy Willard's Water Park for this particular experience. And I am on a private world, which means that, yes, I am a Fallout 76 player, or Fallout First player. I like the unlimited stash box and the bonus atoms I get every month. So, alright, so the Cryolater itself is not a endgame tier weapon. It is one of 3 support weapons that exist in Fallout 76. And that's, well, viable support weapons. The reason it's viable is because of what it does. It freezes enemies. And that may not look like a whole lot to you. And really, it's not. First, it eats ammo like mad. That used up 10 rounds out of that clip, so quad may be a better legendary effect for this weapon, but the intention with this is when used on larger enemies, it will freeze them solid, slow them down, decrease their damage output because they're not moving around as much. It is incredibly helpful if somebody pulls this out when you're fighting the Scorched Beast Queen or Earl or something of that nature. But in terms of day-to-day usage, in terms of, I want something that's going to kill everything, while it gets the job done, it doesn't get the job done the greatest. So, keep that in mind, and again, the stats on it one more time. This is why it comes in at number 9. It is what it is. Ice damage, automatic, with the standard barrel, and assorted everything else to make it a semi-viable weapon even for this test. The next one, this is endgame tier, even though you can get it relatively easy. The plans can be found for it all over the Savage Divide. The plans for the alternate version of this one can, yeah, pretty much everywhere from the Stavified eastward. And the weapon I'm talking about coming in at number 8 is going to be none of those. Absolutely none of those. Where are you hiding, sir? Alright. Light machine gun or the 50 caliber machine gun, either or. There's nothing too super special about this. If you take a look at it, decent damage, easy to craft ammo, easy capacity, good fire rate, good range, low AP cost, great accuracy. These are level 50, and with this, I just have some basic mods: automatic, long barrel, full stock, drum magazine for extra bullets. And this is just some random one. Yeah, this one's definitely an anti-armor weapon if there ever was one. So, how does it work? What makes it kind of cool? Well, let me run over a little further. Quietly looking for a scorched, and you can see what it does and how it does it. It's a submachine gun. You get what you... Let me just look at that. You get what you want with this. Accuracy is not terrible. Ammo consumption could be a lot better, could be a lot worse. It's got a substantial recoil to it, so keep that in mind when you're using it. It may not be the best thing for you, but this is definitely something you can open up fire in the middle of a group and be confident that you're going to largely kill just about everything that moves. I'm going to drop a couple of those. Alright, what more can I say? You can find the plans all over. If you have Beckett as your camp ally, he does drop one called the Final Word, which is a pretty decent weapon in and of itself that you can get at a relatively early level. Alright, moving on, because really, again, it just puts bullets downstream. It acts like a submachine gun, much like these two guys. Alright. Moving on, next is a weapon that's only available once a year, but once you unlock it, you can get it whenever you want, and it is the Pepper Shaker. What's not to love about the Pepper Shaker? Listen to that happy little thumpy thump. Alright, here's the joy of the Pepper Shaker. Let me get these shotgun shells because I'm going to need them. Alright, this is just a junky one that I rolled and picked up. I really recommend Quad. Quad for this one makes a tremendous amount of love in the world. What makes this thing so freaking useful is what it does as a shotgun. If you noticed in my perks over here, one gun army, heavy guns gain a 12% chance and a stagger chance and a 12% chance to cripple a limb. Well, if you go down under agility and you look for enforcer with shotguns, you get a 15% stagger chance and a 30% chance to cripple a limb. The Pepper Shaker is an automatic shotgun that can use shotgun shells, fusion cells, or plasma cores with the right loadout. It is definitely a short-range weapon. It does not do the most damage in the world, but this thing is a stagger and cripple machine. Much like the Cryolater, where it exists to slow down enemies, if your enemy cannot walk, it cannot run. Look at that. It's stunned. It's staggered. It mulches. It's got that very satisfying kerthunk kaboom. I love this thing. Now the problem is this gun's only available during Meat Week. You have to complete Graham's Cookout. Meat Week happens once or twice a year for a couple of weeks at a time, so you do have a very good window to get it, but unless you're willing to wait till the summertime, you probably won't. Normally at this point I'd recommend a weapon that's equivalent, but I'm not going to lie to you, there's not. there really aren't any automatic shotguns that do what this thing does. It's also considered a heavy gun, which makes it even more powerful because you can stack your heavy gun and your shotgun perks on top of it for insane up close and in person damage. Alright, moving on is something that a lot of people will say, Josh, this is an endgame weapon. Why are you only ranking it at number 6? I have my reasons. It is the Gatling Plasma. Now, this one is marked at 2-shot. We already talked about the way 2-shot's calculated. Big fan of anti-armor on this one. I don't have this one modded out, so take that for what it is, but this thing is just a beast. You can buy the plans for this at a Modus terminal once you complete the Enclave quest line about 3/4 of the way through it, which means you can get it before you're even level 50. Before you even touch the endgame, you can get a hold of one of these, and then you can roll legendary cores on it as much as you want for legendary effects. It's another shredder. Did I go to? Yeah. Let me port over to our next location. We're not doing Death Blossoms. We are not doing Bots on Parade. Well, I think our next location is just going to be a very friendly jaunt over to West Tech. So, what makes this one really good? You can get ammo for it everywhere. This uses plasma cores. They count as energy rounds for batteries included. Energy damage is calculated differently, has a different set of resistances than ballistic damage. So if you got something that, is shrugging off your bullets, energy weapons can usually make up the difference on that. Then, forgive my phone going off in the background. We will fix that. Alright. What can I say about this? Well, I can say it's not a long-range weapon. That's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. However, mid and short range, look at this. If you can put up with a recoil, and if you're up close and personal, it makes things go bye-bye. And again, this is an unmodded one, so I mean, it's doing the damage, it chews things up, but as you can tell, the range on it is really kind of crappy. Without mods. With mods, it's stabilized a bit better, swings harder. It's just a good all-around heavy weapon when you're up close. It's not something you're going to want to use very often with a lot of success at tearing up stuff at range. This, however, while it doesn't do as much damage directly, it does do a lot. Sorry, wanted to kill him before I talked any longer. This is the Foundation's Vengeance, and it's coming in at number 5. This is a explosive minigun that is incredibly common. You can find it all over the world, and I'm not kidding about that. I have this one tricked out with Ultra Sight 5mm rounds, and we're just going to have to pick up everything. So, let's talk about the Vengeance. Vengeance is very easy to get a hold of. You can find it on player vendors because it is a drop from the event Eviction Notice, which is a public event, has a chance of spawning every 20 minutes throughout the world. And I am trashing some stuff so I can keep running around doing what I'm doing with you. Alright, back to the excitement. What makes the Foundation's Vengeance so good? Well, if you didn't already tell, this is a minigun, uses 5mm bullets. You can trick it out with a prime receiver to give it that extra anti-scorched bonus damage, plus bonus damage in general. But let's take a peek at this. This is designed to be bloodied, so damage increases up 95% the lower health you get. So if you are running a high radiation build, a bloodied build, this thing is built for you, and the damage on it will increase exponentially. Right now you're seeing it at 59 and I'm at full health, so nearly double that for close to around 100 per shot with really easy to find ammo. Then the next bonus is that the bullets explode for 20% weapon damage, so you're not only hitting your bad guy, you're getting explosive damage on your bad guy, and then doing extra explosive damage to everything around it. You get damage resistance when reloading, which means you're getting pinged, but you're not getting pinged that badly. And finally, because I have the Ultra Sight on it, it's an extra 65% damage to Scorched on top of all of that. And the thing I love about this that I don't love about the Gatling Plasma, where I point, bullets land. And with Demolition Expert and the critical one here, Grenader, not only the bullets landing, you get a big boom from it. Bigger boom when you blow up a truck. And this is number 5. Again, you can buy it off of player vendors for around 1,000 caps each on PC. That's it's a top tier level functional weapon that you can get for dirt cheap with no effort. The next one is going to be the Plasma Caster. And this is why I have concentrated fire. This is also why I have, there we go. Brain just froze. Yeah, this is why I have concentrated fire, because this thing is outstanding when used in conjunction with VATS. I have anti-armor on this one for an extra 50% armor penetration. Ignore the bash damage, that sucks. The bonus 15 point damage to VATS critical is it's critical charge. So every time you land a shot with VATS, it gets a boost. What it's not good for is hip fire. Or, oh, of course, now it's going to land every shot I point. It's got some substantial recoil. Bullets don't necessarily go exactly where you want them. It's not my favorite to use outside of VATS. Inside of VATS, that's a totally, and I do mean totally, different story. And as luck would have it, Swarm of Suitors just popped, so let me use that as an example for our next several weapons. Plasma Caster is just something, to me, it's the bolt action rifle of the heavy gun world. Nothing else really matches it. It's single fire. You have to pull the trigger every time you want to lob a round. Because it works so good at range, you can use it for daily challenges that say, cripple a scorched leg or cripple a scorched head or whatever, and do it at a distance. If you're using VATS, if you can come in at range, you can quickly clear out a camp of bad guys with it, aiming for heads, doing bonus damage, doing critical damage, 1 to 2 shots each. And that means a lot when you're off doing stuff solo. When you're doing stuff in an event, there are other weapons to tag enemies with that'll be faster, work better, but when you're just off on your own, it's pretty solid, and it's hard to argue against. So alright, we have Mirelurks coming in from the side at a distance. I'm in the water. Let me get out of the water. And just, with all my heavy gun perks right now, I'm doing substantial damage on this thing every single shot. Now, of course, that is a legendary. I'm not doing as much damage as I should be. And I'm not... there's a lot of things that are not working out in our favor right here. But you can see the extra damage when I'm getting weak spots. It does what it does very, very, very well. It's not designed to solo legendary enemies. It is designed to make short work of trash mobs. And when used in conjunction with VATS, it does so much better. There you have it. Plasma Caster in use. You do have to spend gold bullion to get this one. You can get it off Minerva at her weekly sales, or you can pick it up from Regs in Vault 79. Alright, we're now at number 3. That's going to be the Gauss minigun, and I love this. Let me show you why. Look, I am showing you why. Does it do the most damage? No. Does it make very big explosions that tags everything in the immediate area? Yes. Does it chew through creatures quickly? Also yes. Does it make big explosions? Very much yes on every single one of those things. Just a super fast look at it. Alright, I've got Ultra Sight on this, 50% damage to Scorch, 25% extra damage while aiming, reduced weight, and bullets explode. All Gauss weapons have explosive bullets, and with Grenader and Demolition Expert, did it break? No. It puts out a lot of firepower, a lot of shiny lights, and when used against appropriate creatures, it just chews them up. You do have to spend gold bullion on this one, but once you have it unlocked, you have it unlocked. Scrolling, let me remember where to get this. The only thing on this, 2mm Ultra Sight ammo and 2mm ammo is heavy. You will need batteries equipped when you're using this weapon because, as you saw, it just chews through it. However, speaking of chewing through it, we're going to go with my favorite weapon, but I can't use it all the time. This is the Nuka Launcher 2-shot automatic grenade launcher. Now, I'm not actually sure if this counts as a heavy gun or an explosive gun. All I can tell you is it makes stuff go away instantly. With 12 rounds in the clip, you can spam out a whole metric ton of damage in a hurry. Now, it will damage you, so have to be careful a little bit. Now that I'm done blowing stuff up, oh, who am I kidding? I'm never done blowing stuff up. Look at those beautiful explosions. Before we take a look at the stats, let me note something. Those beautiful explosions, you can't see a whole lot behind them. They make the screen jump, they pick up good flash, and they blow corpses everywhere. It can make it hard for other players who just want to play the game to have a good time. Like the Overkill, this can be used to grief people, and I absolutely do not want to see anybody doing that. I do use this in a couple of public events, such as rarely an eviction notice. I will use it in Moonshine Jamboree because I can pepper pretty much one entire quadrant to just tag the enemies so I can get the credit, other people can get credit, we all walk away happy, and we all get our maximized experience. But what I don't do is spam it, and I would like to ask that you guys try to avoid spamming it too. With that said, here are the stats. 2-shot, crappy hip accuracy, but that's okay because you're not trying to score a hit with this thing. You are saturating the area and making sure that your target is in range of the explosions. It can do extra limb damage, which is kind of helpful. And it does 50% damage to mole miners, but if you need this weapon to kill a mole miner, you need help. Then, with that said, take a look at the damage. The direct damage, pretty solid. Scroll down through here. Just, it doesn't take a lot of mods to make this thing super powerful. Unfortunately, and this is a big unfortunately, and I do apologize for this, this came out in early 2023 and has not come out since. So if you missed it then, you probably are not going to get it for a while. Some rare weapons have started making their appearance at Galupsi at the White Spring Refuge down here. Not the north entrance. The White Spring Refuge, and he takes them in exchange for stamps, but usually charges a metric ton of stamps to get. So I can't tell you when it'll be back. Hopefully it'll be back. Alternates to this weapon would be just a standard 2-shot automatic grenade launcher, and then you can go to town with it and do mostly the same exact thing. Alright, last but certainly not least, my day-to-day weapon, the thing that I use all the time with no question. a weapon that came out in late 2023. You can get it from the Beasts of Burden event, a public event, so you can find it on vendors. It is tradable, and it is so overpowered. It is the holy fire. When I pull out my heavy gun, this is what I'm pulling out. This is what I'm using. The reason is really simple. It's just that good. This is an automatic flamer, but it's got a few hidden effects. You can re-roll the base effects. The base effect is vampires, so you get some health back when you fire it, which is cool if you're going bloodied. If you're not, if you're full health tank, armor penetration turns this thing into a melting weapon. There's nothing even close to it. A few basic mods: napalm tank, long barrel. Modding this thing is a little iffy. You can't do most of them, I don't think, with this weapon. So take a look at the workbench. If you can't modify it, hey, you can't modify it. But here's what makes this so cool. It has a couple of unstated hidden effects. 15% damage boost and a 20% fire rate. So not only is it firing at an automatic level, it's faster than any other flamer in doing a base extra damage. And then if you roll something like these legendary effects for 25% weapon speed, I mean, you're about to see why I use this thing constantly. One last round for good measure. Alright, let's bring it up. Say hello to the holy fire, and you can tell when somebody is using this weapon because it's got an effect that you just can't ignore. We are going to take a look and see who we are giving a bad day to. Oh, looks like I need to kill some squatters at drop site V9, so it won't be a lot of bad guys. Alright. I really can't say enough good things about this weapon. This is God tier, endgame tier. It works on everything except at long range. So short range, there's nothing better. Medium to long range, it's pretty solid. Very long range, like flying creatures, things sniping at you from across a hallway, not as useful. It is great for daily ops. It is great for daily events. It is great for boss fights. Mid-range. Roasted, toasted, cooked, burnt, instantly. You've seen how long it takes me to kill other things with this weapon list all day. And while in most cases they all die relatively quickly, this thing just shreds. Oh, and this is why I have a Master Infiltrator. I'll just take all those, thank you. Alright, so nitty gritty. Oh, I did not just do that. I just did that. Alright, nitty gritty on this thing of any extra special notes. Listen, there aren't any. This thing is what it is. It is a flamethrower. It has a job. It does the job. It cooks everything. Look, scorched. Here's what it's not going to cook at range. That thing. And this is why I usually keep, a slew of different weapons on me. It's not hitting it. It's too far away. What will hit it? What will bring it down? So, we use that to cook that scorched beast out, and then we just flip back to the flamer, and we take care of the rest. And looks like we have some volunteers down there, so to give you another example, cooked, 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 cooked. And yeah, I know, basic scorched are not the hardest thing in the world to fry away, but cooked. Just, they're done. It's over. Game. What more do you want from a weapon? You want something that's going to, destroy whatever you pointed at. And again, here I'm going to use the plasma caster to wear this thing out. And look at those damage numbers as they pop up. Even on hip fire, it's still pretty impressive. Targeted, there's a critical, 600, 400, 416. Switch. And look at those damages. It's done. He's done too. And what more do you want from a gun? It does what it's supposed to do. Alright, that's it everybody. Thank you so much for this list. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find some inspiration with some of these. And whatever you do, hope you use them responsibly. Have a great time. Be kind to your fellow wastelanders, except for the ones that you plan on melting the skin from their bones. Thanks so much. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.